It's Monday the 16th of September 2024. In this evening's show, we review Steve Bruce's Seaside debut as Brucies boys record their first win of the season with a dramatic last gasp winner against the Grecians at a raucous Bloomfield Road. We also look ahead to the massive third round cup tie against Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow evening. I'm John Aspinall, and this is Seaside's podcast match reaction show. Blackpool 2, Exeter City 1.
With a great tradition.
All over the place this evening. Are we actually live? Is anyone in the comments? I can't see anyone. Looks like we've got a live stream going on. Oh, there we go. Evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody. Bit of a short intro there. I believe the music has been fixed, so if anyone in the comments can confirm that. Nick's confirmed it. Fantastic. On the panel this evening, Tim, Tom, I always like saying that, and Nick. Was it a children's TV show, Nick? I think you described that name combination.
Mary Mungo and Midge for those of a certain vintage.
Tom's just looking blankly at the screen there. Right, Tom.
Yep, very good. Didn't see much of Saturday's game, but looking forward to talking about how it went. And also, obviously, we've got a big cup game coming up this week, which been looking into our cup history, and we've not made the third round that many times in the last 50 years. So, yeah, big week for us, really, with Steve Bruce.
Tim, how are you doing?
It's good to come on and be full of the joys of a last-minute winner, isn't it? So, feeling great.
When was the last time we had a big last-minute winner? And then the limbs...
Did we beat Wigan once last minute, didn't we? Last season. Didn't we? I'm sure we scored a last-minute winner against Wigan. Did they equalise the summit just before the end, a little bit like Exeter did, and then we got the winner? I'm pretty sure we did.
Back before that, I'm trying to think. There was the Bolton one, wasn't there, a few seasons ago?
Yeah, I remember Peterborough away. I don't know how late that was when Gary Medine was famously messing about in the corner after we'd scored. That feels like a late goal. Don't know how late it was. Not been many anyway.
Gary Medine. Where's Mitch when we need him? Oh, he's there. He's there. Just saying yep. I think that's in reference to the music working over to Big Gaz. Anyway, let's get going. First thing we want to be looking at is for starting 11. Not that graphic. Just let me get it up. Lineup, which was, I'll get the graphic up in a minute. Tyra, Husband, Casey, Afire, Gabriel at the back. It looked like a 4-4-1-1 in the middle. Norburn Evans, Apto on the right, Hamilton on the left. Ballard playing just in behind Joseph. So, Nick, it was a 4 at the back start from Steve Bruce that answered a lot of questions straight away when that team sheet was announced.
Yeah, I was with Tim when it came out, and it was we were sort of saying it's an old school sort of 4-4-2 probably, and that was quite refreshing in a way. I didn't mind it. I think quite often under critics you'd get the team sheet and you have to spend a few minutes kind of going, right, what's he doing here? Who's on the left? Is he inverted? Who's playing the 10? Is he in a 3 or a 2? And this was a bit back to basics if you like. But I didn't mind it. I think Jimmy's better in a 4. I think Gabriel suits a 4 more. If you're going to play CJ, I prefer him on that side as a winger than being an inverted wing back and asking him to try and defend and stuff. So I didn't mind it at all. Obviously, the downside is for the likes of Coulson, he's probably better in a 5. But then again, it's a strong bench, isn't it? So yeah, a bit old school. Probably not a formation you see very much these days, but I didn't mind it at all.
Tim, over to you. Thoughts on that? Obviously, no place for Jordan Rhodes. Also, no place for Carey, no place for Embleton. Nick's mentioned Coulson there, Beasley as well on the bench. It looked like a very strong bench as well
Yeah, it did. Just going back a step, the other interesting thing was who he was going to play in goal. I thought it would be Tyra, bearing in mind he was clearly brought in as the first choice. So he went with him. So that was interesting. My mate who used to coach him as a kid was messaging me saying, "Do you think he'll start?" And I must admit, I did. So yeah, again, as Nick says, you could almost look at the team. You could see the shape. You could see what Bruce was trying to do, and I was glad to see that Apter was in there. A little surprised that Rhodes didn't get the start, but I think that's going to be a pattern. I think this season of him coming on when maybe legs have tied on with the opposition a bit more. And overall, I was pretty pleased with what we had. Gabriel seems to all of a sudden be back in contention where he didn't seem to be able to get a game previously. Casey seems to be, these players who we've all been shouting for, all of a sudden, surprise, surprise, seems to find their way into the first team, don't they? Casey, obviously we spoke about bringing Apter back. I mean, it's not really, I think he was going to be playing this season anyway, but Norburn as well, who was struggling, it's fair to say, last season, just seems like a different player.
Tom, over to you. Your thoughts on that lineup there? Anything more to add?
Yeah, what I've not liked, apart from when Critchley's been the manager, is his husband at left back. He's never really been that great for us there. I've always preferred him at centre half. So interesting. Obviously, the more attacking option would have been Coulson, and he's gone for husband. So just intriguing to see if he did well. Obviously, he scored, but generally his performance. Moving forward, I'd like to see a more attacking option at fullback. But I suppose we've got Gabriel on one side, and he offers balance in that respect. But yeah, that was the only thing that stood out.
Just Tim, Nick, did you actually get in before kickoff? Because there's like massive queues. I think I may have had 1 pint too many at the Bloomfield, but there was huge queues, and I actually missed kickoff, and I missed Steve Bruce coming in. So
yeah, maybe we got there a bit earlier. I think we sort of set off a similar time to the ground, didn't we? You went, I think you went to Excelsior for one, but we kind of headed up, and even with being there 15 minutes earlier than we normally are, it was queuing quite a bit, and sort of said to Jim, we've probably timed this quite well, or else we'd probably be in your situation, John, and still been outside, because there were some very big queues. And I think it's maybe just people turning up a little bit later, perhaps because it wasn't, we'll probably come to talk about it later, but it wasn't a huge home attendance, not bigger than we've had previously. But yeah, I noticed when we got in, it was pretty empty, and even on kickoff, there was still a lot of people making their way in for the first few minutes.
Tim, you went
I don't
to
think
Excelsior. That's a bit old school, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't. Let's say about that better.
Go on,
it was just some of the lads who we were with had gone up, so we just decided to pop in and meet them. But it was we'd been in Shickers for the majority of the pre-match. So I was a few minutes behind Nick, and we literally just got in as the teams were sort of being introduced. But we were there. I think we were there before 2:45, and we only just got in by the skin of our teeth. I don't think actually, and this it's not criticism particularly, but I don't think that these things on your phones actually work as smoothly as a physical card. I must admit, it wasn't having it for me for a while. So it's a little bit like sometime you're at Tesco or something, isn't it? And things aren't working, and you can't get the club card to work. It's a little bit like that. And if you add into the mix, some older people who maybe aren't quite as tech savvy and don't get the phone out and don't get the card ready for when they're up at for when they first get there, and it's going to be a slower experience, I think, than having a physical card that you just tap on the screen. So I don't think it's quite as slick, and I think that's half the problem. Because listen, at the end of the day, the crowds aren't what they were last season, and the queues seem to be getting longer, don't they?
Mm. It's funny you say that, Tim, because I actually said, I think I said to Eddie, it's really good, this system, isn't it? Because I know what I'm doing. I'm tech savvy. with me, it's just really easy, quick swipe to Eddie's, and we both go in pretty quick. But everyone isn't of the same level of technical literacy, like you said. And
I didn't accept mine for a couple of times, and I'm tech savvy enough to hold the phone up to where I'm meant to, and it was it didn't ping for a couple of times. So I think, like you said, Tim says sometimes it's just it doesn't.
Well, what mine did, I don't know whether this is something. Mine brought my Apple Pay up, and then when the Apple Pays up, it blocks the card apparently. And the woman behind said, "Oh, it's because your bank cards come up. So it must be a pretty regular thing." Because she said it straight away. As soon as I close it down, it works straight away.
Last home game, mine just disappeared out of my wallet. Just completely disappeared. I was panicking. I was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna have to go to the ticket office." Then someone said it's like hidden the first time.
Yeah, you just have to get. Happened last season, but it's it's a minor gripe that in the scheme of things, isn't it?
No, but I think that's the explanation. I think it's just and we all probably just need to turn up a little bit early, don't we? That's the reality of the thing. But
get out the pub.
It was a nice sunny day, though, wasn't it? I was enjoying sitting outside the Bloomfield Club. I actually snuck out a glass as well, Nick. We decanted it into plastic glass, don't we? Right. Anyway, let's get on to the football then. Tom, how do you think Blackpool started the game? Obviously, an early card for a fire very early on, 10 minutes, yellow card. That sort of, I thought that may make him play a bit in himself, but what a debut it was for the big man at centre half.
Yeah, it sounds like he played well. I can't say I've seen too much of it, only the extended highlights. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to pass comment too much on how he did, but if we've got a defender who can play as well as defend, almost the Marvin role that we've seen, then we've obviously got competition for places at the back, which is good. So it sounds everyone was giving him rave reviews, and then obviously we've got Gabriel at the back as well and Husband. So all of a sudden we're looking pretty strong at the back, despite the fact we've conceded how many goals this season in 4 games? 11, is it? So the one thing he's got to get right straight away is the defence. Obviously we've conceded 1 from a strange free kick, which I'm sure we'll come on to, but seems like we were pretty assured at the back, and if you can sort that out, it gives us a platform to build on, doesn't it? So I think that was job number 1, and something you pretty much guarantee with a Steve Bruce side. So yeah, the formation was a bit more rigid and solid, and gave us a platform, like I say, to play out from, especially at home. So hopefully it's a good sign of things to come, but also that attacking intent that we need to see at home as well.
Tim, how do you think we started the game?
Very positive, I thought. I thought we were doing the simple things quite well, playing it to feet. Tyra was his distribution when he was long kicking it was very poor. I think it's probably just nerves. They kept on like hooking it left into, and it was going out for throw-ins, which was causing it. Well, we were conceding possession, but I did like his distribution, his short distribution, for want of a better word. I thought that was quick and good and positive. And I'm sure the long kicking will come. I could see how frustrated he was with that. I just generally felt that we were finding the wide positions. We were using the pitch, I think's the terminology, isn't it? And, the more I see of Apter, the more I like what I see. I think he's a little terrier even when we haven't got the ball. But when we've got the ball, I really like the way that he goes about his business. And we were buzzing about up front, 2 very mobile strikers. We spoke about Casey, we spoke about Gabriel getting back in the team. I didn't mention Joseph, and that was an effervescent performance, I would say, by him. He was all over the place,
Looks
plenty
reborn,
of pace.
Reborn, doesn't he?
Oh, it's just he's now looking like the player we all went to Bolton, didn't we? When I think he made his debut. And he came on for about 10 minutes. We thought, he's a bit of a player here. And then it never quite happened, did it? And you hear rumours about him being fined for various reasons. And he just looks like he's enjoyed himself.
Elaborate on the various reasons.
Well, the rumour is he got fined for shooting, isn't it? He got fined for having a shot. I don't know the context of it. But if that's
Probably
true,
wasn't in the optimum goal potential zone that they're forced to go within and then shoot. Probably.
But if you're a striker having a shot at goal, anyway. Listen, I said we don't know the context, but equally, he clearly wasn't enjoying his football last season, and at the start of this, and we've now got. He's all of a sudden looking like the player who Swansea paid. Was it the thick end of £2 million for? Wasn't it? You can see it now. And he's ours, and he's a young player, and he's only going to improve. And it's great to see him having such an influence on the game.
Nick, talk us through the opening goal. I thought CJ was going to CJ it, but CJ didn't CJ it. It ended up nestling.
He didn't.
In the,
it was a long throw, wasn't it? From our right hand side. And it kind of fell to CJ, and you're kind of wondering where's this going to go. And it wasn't the cleanest of strike, to be fair. Took a little bit of a deflection, sort of bobbled into the ground, but the main thing was it settled in the back of the net, and I think we deserved it. I think I'd echo what Tim said. We kind of thought we started on the front foot. We tried to get the ball forward. There was a lot less of this kind of passing it around at the back, and we only really went back when we had to. Other than that, we got the ball forward quite quickly, used the wings, both CJ and Apter, and I thought when we went 1-0 up, I think we deserved it. And is he our top scorer now, CJ? Is that his third of the season?
Well, Jimmy's got to be up there, hasn't he?
Jimmy's
right?
Jimmy's on 3 as well,
3?
is he? Yeah.
Is that right, Tom? Nodding your head.
Yeah, both on 3. CJ's 2 were in the cup though, so it depends if you're counting the cup.
Definitely count everything. Count pre-season.
CJ will be counting everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought with the goal though as well, it was quite comical from Exeter's perspective, wasn't it? Because the throw-in was launched in, it bounced over the defender, and then he hit it. So you won't be happy if you concede him that, to be honest. But CJ will take it.
Funny you should say that, Tom. Got my youth coaching head on. I was like saying when I was watching that back, it's like that's like kids stuff. You're angry if that happens at an under 12s game, just letting that bounce happen. Very rarely see that at the professional level. I bet that wouldn't have happened on your watch, Tim.
No, get it out. Get out. Attack that ball. No, it was a bit weird, wasn't it? And then I think CJ's shot went through the defender's legs, if I remember rightly. But that's just fluke sometimes, isn't it? When they dive for it and it actually goes through. But yeah, it's but I actually also think he got, it wasn't the cleanest strike, but he also got a very effective connection for me. He sent the ball back the way it came and got his foot over the top of the ball. So not going to get any criticisms from me for that.
Steve Hutchins just put a good point in the chat. Both goals on Saturday from a set piece, and looks like something that's really turned the corner since the departure of our ex-manager.
Yeah, I think we've talked a while, quite a few times about set pieces where even with good delivery, I think Dembele put some great balls in, but you never really felt when we had a corner or a free kick that anything was really going to come from it. And I think this season, Embleton, when he came on, there was some great delivery, but Evans as well. He's superb on set piece delivery. And like you say, all of a sudden,
that second half, Nick, some of those balls coming in from the corner.
All of a sudden, it's another kind of facet to what we've got in terms of our attack, and you feel like each time we get a corner, something could come from it, and that's not always been the case in recent seasons. So yeah, good to see. And I think as the first half went on, we continued to press and get the ball forward, and we created some really good chances. Ballard had the one where he went through, didn't he? And to be fair, I think you've got to give the keeper a bit of credit there. It wasn't the easiest chance, and it was quite a decent save, but it's the same old story, isn't it? You worry when you're saying we should be 2 or 3-0 up at half time, and it's only 1-0. What can always happen?
Yeah, Tom, as Nick's mentioned there, Ballard's gone through on goal. Got to be scoring those chances, really. It could have turned around to bite us on the arse, missing these good chances, and that was nearly the case. So,
yeah, he's looked pretty dangerous. Yeah, him and Joseph look like a decent partnership, don't they? They're linking up quite well, and they're both similar in that they're nifty. They've got skill, both of them, and yeah, they both look like they've got a goal in them, which is good. Obviously, we've had Rhodes who scores goals, but he's a little bit slow. You've got who else? We've got Beasley. He's not very mobile. We've obviously had Kouassi and a couple of others in as well. So we've got a couple of players who've got a yard of pace on them, and they're looking pretty dangerous when they get through. So he's not done. He's been a little bit unlucky. He's not done a lot wrong with the finish, maybe, but yeah, when he gets firing a few games in, you might expect him to finish that. So I can't remember if the keeper saved it or it came off the defender to block it, but yeah, maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10 he might score there, and unfortunately he didn't on that occasion.
Go on, Tim.
Well, we did before that. Just mention Apter's strike, which was a decent shot, wasn't it? That cutting in on the from the right onto cut inside, a decent shot. Keeper made a great save then, to be fair.
Oh yeah. So realistically, we could have been remiss.
Well, that's what we were saying at half time. We're just saying usual. Sometimes we are a bit of a team. With Jekyll and Hyde with the halves, aren't we? And we're going in there really disappointed. It isn't 2 or 3, and it should have been on the balance of play, I think. I think that's something we've got to look at, because that could cost us, But we've got young players up front. I think once they settle in, I think they'll be a bit more ruthless when it comes to finishing.
I'm surprised, John, you've not got the XG table. The graph, the visual graph that we normally refer to. Now that it's on our side, we'll see a load of tangerine on the first half. I would have thought, but
Tom, here's
There
one
we-
I prepared.
There
Here's
we
one
go.
I prepared earlier.
Look at that.
Ask and you shall receive. What service, eh? Yeah, there's the momentum graph. Domination in the first.
Do you want to describe that one for the benefit of the audio
For the
pod?
benefit of the audio pod, we've got a graph featuring I guess it's like the big chances for Blackpool. The majority of the play, the possession, the attacks are in the first half are all coming from Blackpool. So there's a lot of tangerine.
Looks like one of those Arizonian mountains, doesn't it? With all the those mountains that go straight up in the desert. It's literally all us, isn't it?
And I bet you've been there on holiday, haven't you, Judy?
I haven't actually. No. It's on my to-do list though.
Yeah, but gents, if you cast your eyes to the momentum graph there, I think that paints a very good story of the second half, didn't it? Because a lot of people around us were saying there's an Exeter goal coming here. You could kind of feel it in your bones that was going to happen.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily they were creating loads and loads of chances, but you did feel like, we weren't creating as much. Obviously, at half time, I dare say their managers had a few choice words with them, because, we were by far the better team in the first half. And I don't think 3-0 would have been a flattering scoreline. I think, we had a couple of really good chances, certainly 2-0 at least. So they've obviously come out with a bit more, probably with a flea in their ear and a little bit more intent. And it was, like I say, it wasn't like they were creating loads and loads and loads of chances, but you did just feel like, it's maybe coming a bit this. And I think when Ballard went off, particularly for me, we went, it went a little bit flatter for us, because I just think we really do miss his pace. It was similar when he went off against Cambridge earlier in the season. And then we kind of fell apart a bit then, didn't we? But yeah, and the ref as well. I think we need to mention the referee with his
ruined the game.
Love of a yellow card. I think going back to the first half, the Fire one, you'd say probably fair enough. He was a little bit sort of studs up. It wasn't a red by any means, although that's in the Prem and they're slowing it down and watching it 20 times on VAR. It always makes it look a lot worse. And it's probably one where they'd be sending the ref over to the monitor. But so that one was fair enough. But some of the ones in the second half, I think it was it Joseph who chased back really well. and he got a yellow card for, I think, winning the ball. Gabriel then got a yellow card, and the worst one of all was when we were breaking. Their guy's already on a yellow. It's a deliberate handball. If you go on the Exeter forum, even their fans were saying, "God, we got away with one there." And the ref at the time, he's kind of acknowledged it. You've seen him sort of look and go, right, yeah, but play on. Which, fair play, that's the correct thing to do, because you want to see what can develop. But then he doesn't call him. And then when the ball goes dead, you're fully expecting them to call it back and say, right, come here. That's a deliberate a deliberate handball. It's another yellow. And he didn't even speak to the guy. It was absolutely unbelievable. So there's probably 2 or 3 there that 2 of them probably weren't a yellow and one definitely was. And he's not giving it. And like I say, 2 of ours don't think we're even particularly even fouls. So, we could have been talking, and if it ends up at 1-1, we'd have probably been talking about the ref a lot more. The fact that you get a last-minute winner, you can kind of sort of forget about it a little bit. But he could have very easily spoiled that for us on Saturday afternoon. I thought he was really poor.
Tim, Nick, I don't know if you remember this incident involving the ref when they got a throw in right down.
And he kept making him go back to the corner flag. Yeah. Well, to be fair, it was right though, because the guy was, and I think that's something that refs don't a lot of the time don't really clamp down on. They'll say go back, and then they still end up running 10 yards down the line. But their player, he was being a bit sarcastic, wasn't he? He was like, "Do you want me to go into the stand or something?"
Just for the benefit of people that may have not seen this, what happened was they had a throw in more or less on the throw in quadrant, and their player was trying to steal 2 or 3 yards, wasn't he? Like they always do there. But that ref was having none of it, was he? Absolutely none of it. And he was like, I think he tried to steal about 3 inches after being told off, and the ref was, right, get back you go. And I've never actually seen that before. So he was a stickler for the rules, Tim, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was a school teacher, I think, wasn't he, in his day job.
But like it says in the chat there, 11 cards in total. And it wasn't, you don't look at that and think, my God, that was a dirty game. When there's been a dirty game, don't you? And it's like, wow, there was tackles flying in all over the place. But it was, like I say, some of them weren't even fouls, let alone yellow cards.
Well, we had 7 out of 11. How many did it take to normally get a fine for failing to control your players? Because feels like that might be getting a slap on the wrist for 7 yellows in the same game. Not that we should.
And that's the thing. He'll get assessed, and they'll say he's had a very good game. That's the thing. It's not like he's going to get hauled over the coals for it.
Yeah.
But
right, that's the game. Their goal, silly. Was it Rhodes who gave the foul away? It was a silly
kind
foul
of got dispossessed, and then just. I said at the time to Jim, I hate it when just fouls in silly places are a bit unnecessary. And yeah, obviously we got punished for it. Still not. I've watched it back a couple of times, and I can't decide whether it's an absolutely brilliant, worldy, unstoppable free kick, or keeper's a little bit out of position, or a little bit of both. I mean, he did hit it very, very well, and it kind of just hits the inside of the post and curls in. But you just wonder, should you get beat from there? I don't know.
Some of those, when you're watching some of the highlight things back, it's sometimes because they don't do a replay of it or slow it down, it can be quite difficult to actually see what happens, can't you? You see it flying in, and I wasn't even sure whether somebody touched it on the way in. I don't know.
Straight in, I think.
No. Yeah, I mean, it was a very good free kick, to be fair, but just and at that point, you're just kind of thinking, is that it? We're going to rue those chances from the first half because we deserve to win the game, just for the first half for me. But after that, to be fair, we really kind of raised our game again, didn't we? And got back on the front foot and forced 2 or 3 corners where the ball was. You're thinking it was a couple of them. you're kind of thinking it's in. There was the one with the Rhodes header where he kind of almost heads it back across, and another one cleared out from underneath the bar off the goal line, and you're just wondering, is that it? Is it going to come? Will we get one last chance? And thankfully we did. And I made my way down, and I was going to go to the loo, and I thought, well, if I do, it's guaranteed. It's a guaranteed goal because I'll do a Smith and miss it. And I thought, no, I'll just hang on for this corner. So I sat down at the front of the West, and yeah, I was glad I did. And Rhodes, to be fair, criticised him for what happened on their goal, but he made up for it with the assist, didn't he? With the great header back across, and top scorer Jimmy was there to finish it.
Absolute
and limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember in days gone by when you used to score goals on terraces? It doesn't necessarily have to be in late goals, but you used to just jump around and hug random people, didn't you? That doesn't happen anymore in grounds, but it did in the north around us. Everyone was like jumping on each other, hugging each other. It was like it was a moment from days gone by almost that we haven't seen at Bloomfield quite well. There's just a huge roar as well.
Well, I think it was like a building to a crescendo, wasn't it? Because we'd had the 2 or 3 chances before that, and you think, oh, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then literally, what was the 30 seconds left or something, or maybe a little bit, 90 minute left at the most, to score in that scenario. There's nothing better in football than a last minute winner. And to do it at the north, where obviously there's a bit more noise, and for it to happen like that was just, it just doesn't matter where, it just makes your day, doesn't it? It's just football at its best. It really was. Everybody went home with a huge smile on the face, buzzing. The kids all loved it, which is what we want to see, isn't it? We want the kids. I know you had some problems with Eddie, didn't you, last season? Not wanting to go. Stuff like that happens. You won't be able to keep them away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He walked away from the ground buzzing, as did everyone else. Just one quick point on 50 minutes. Big Rhod sadly passed away in the week. A face everyone knew at Bloomfield Road. I knew Rhod from working in Morrison's back in God knows when I was 17, 18. I always used to have a bit of a laugh with him. We'd always talk about Blackpool. Very well-known face, home and away. Yeah, really sad news. He was only 50, same age as me, and it was a nice moment on 50. Obviously, the word got out. This all grew organically. There was be a big round of applause for Rhod then. Yeah, and I was really shocked when I found out this news. It's like, really, 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 really sad. But I think it was a nice moment, wasn't it?
I thought the fans really made it. It was, so the guy in front of me who didn't know what it was about asked me, and what's this about, and so I told him, and it was, everybody seemed to know. And I think it's probably a reflection of how many people knew him. He's always on. Well, literally, for those who don't know, he went to every single game. If you're at an away game, you would see him. You might not see him at home game, but at away games, obviously, with the numbers being a little lower, and it wouldn't matter whether it was a Tuesday night in Plymouth or or a game in Hartlepool, he'd be there, and he's been doing it for donkey's years. It's not like it's a temporary thing or just something he's done for a season. When we were on the board at Blackpool, him and Andy, his sidekick, were always up in the corner flag and just hanging around because he just loved Blackpool Football Club, and it was really nice that everybody recognised that and gave him, ridiculous age to pass away, but gave him the send off that, you hope one day that something you'd get. It's almost like it was that good, wasn't it? It was that for the whole minute, the whole ground was at it, and I think it was very pleasing. I'm sure if any of his family were there, they would have been. They'd have appreciated it as well.
Yeah, rest in peace, Rhod, mate.
Yeah,
really sad news. But yeah, maybe he was up there smiling down on Blackpool, and what a game for him to, for us to get those 3 points and last minute winner. So that one's for you, Rhod. Right, player ratings. Let's get back to this. We've not done this for ages, have we? Do you want to play, Tom? Can you?
Do you want to take my place? Do you want to?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
A vote this week.
We'll tell you what. You can be the master of ceremonies, and I'll be you. You be me. That's a bit weird, that.
All right.
Right. Let's get the graphic up. Frig, do you do it? Completely forgot. That's the one.
You turned into me already. Right, John first, Tyra.
As I was saying to Eddie, I didn't have that much to do in the grand scheme of the game. Obviously, what he's let one in, but nothing you could do with that. But he didn't really have that many saves to make. But he had a solid pair of hands.
One saved anyway. He had to get down to his left.
Yeah.
In the second half, I think he probably had those.
One thing I call out to him. Have you seen the footage of when we scored? And he was running about like Joe Hart or something. His arms were out. He was running around near the Exeter fans. If anyone's seen that video, I think it was on Twitter today of the goal. You can see him giving it the big one. So it's good to see. It was his first home game, wasn't it? If not his debut. So yeah, good to see what it meant to him when we scored.
Did anyone else notice the Exeter player like doing the normal, just goading the Blackpool fans in the West rather than celebrating the goal in front of their own fans? And it was it was in front of a bunch of little kids.
Yeah,
I noticed one of them started giving him the toss aside. It was quality like a 9-year-old.
And especially when those fans have, what round trip is it? It's a hell of a trek, isn't it, from Exeter? And
God,
yeah, go and celebrate with them. But yeah, I mean, going back to keeper, I think overall, like Tim said at the start, distribution was a bit shaky, but he settled down into the game as it went, made a couple of good saves. So I'm gonna score him here, John. I'm nicking your thunder.
Right, with that in mind, I'll give him a solid 7+.
All right, Tim, James' husband.
Yeah, I didn't think he actually played that well on Saturday, but then I've watched the highlights, and obviously he puts the cross in for the one that Rhodes was very unlucky with. The defender headed it on, and Rhodes comes in the back post, and then obviously he then gets the limbs going in the 95th minute. So, but overall, I don't think actually in his defensive role, I don't think he had a particularly good game. So I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna have to give him an extra mark for the goals. So I'll go 8.
Do you not remember that moment when he absolutely cleared out just in the dying embers of the game?
Yeah.
He absolutely cleared out their right back.
Don't 8+ then.
Yeah, there you
8+.
It was like a Southend away style challenge, wasn't it? But got the ball, thankfully.
Nick, Jordan Gabriel.
Yeah, I think it's good to see him back in the side. Like I said at the start, I think he probably suits a 4 more than a 5. And hopefully, now that he's back in the side, he will stay there. There was rumours, wasn't there, of him heading out in the summer, and it looked to all intents and purposes like we'd seen him for the last time in the Blackpool shirt. And I'm glad that wasn't the case and that he's back playing. I think, for me, he's a championship defender on his day, let alone League One. Fairly solid. It wasn't spectacular. I think a solid 7 for me.
We'll go through the defenders then. So next, Ollie Casey, John.
I'd had my heart set on doing Ollie Norburn.
Curveball.
You're messing with my melon there. Ollie Casey, yeah, pretty solid. A bit like Nick, nothing spectacular. I don't think he was particularly tested in the game, but he did what was asked of him throughout the game. Looked pretty solid. I'd give him a 7+ also.
And then I've forgotten his first name now. I fire. But yeah, Tim, do you want to do him?
Yeah, I thought as home debuts go, I think it's his home debut, isn't it? Didn't play in the cup, did he? I'd say that's as good a performance as you can expect to see.
Listen to this, Tim. Sorry to interject. 100% accurate pass rate, 42 passes, 42 completed.
Wow.
I think he won nearly all of his tackles as well. I saw
tackles
a stat.
won.
I think it was
100% of tackles, 4 out of 4. Ground duels won 7 out of 8. Aerial duels won 2 out of 3. So it's pretty impressive.
There was a moment in the first half.
Those are incredible stats, aren't
they?
Incredible.
Where there was 2 Exeter players around him, and he kind of hesitated. And I had a bit of like Marv flashbacks for a second, like, "Oh, what are you doing? If you lose it there, we're in trouble." And he kind of just turned around both of them and came out with the ball, and there's like a cheer from the crowd, and you're just like, he's got everything. This guy.
He's 21 as well.
I know.
21.
End up being a bit of a cult hero, I think, if he carries on like that.
Him and Baygot, when Baygot's fit, could be something else, couldn't they? Those two. To be honest, I hadn't appreciated those stats. I'd not been on social media much today, so I've not seen any of that. That's incredible. So I'm going to slightly upgrade the score. I was going to give him to a 9.
Solid. Not a 9+ or a 9-. You're going straight 9?
Straight 9.
Okay.
Adele fire, by the way. Odell.
Don't know
how you pronounce it.
Odell. Nick, Lee Evans.
What can you say? I think he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, although probably not for the next couple of games because it sounds like he's injured, which we'll come on to talk about. But yeah, I really like him. I think he's what we've been missing for quite a while in midfield. He looks to get the ball forward. He wins it. He keeps it ticking over at a good pace. He's in the heart of everything that we do for me. And his set piece delivery is, absolutely top notch. 9 times out of 10, it's right on the money and causes a real problem for, when he's whipping it in for corners and free kicks. So I will give him a 9.
Impressive. John, you've got your main man, Ollie Norburn.
Grenadian international, Ollie Norburn. Yeah, he wasn't massively spectacular, but I think he's now looks like the player we thought we'd signed. Which obviously Critchball has knocked the stuffing out of him, having the captaincy. There's obviously a heavy weight to bear on his shoulders. He's obviously given that up now. But he was tidy, he kept the ball moving. He played a bit more on the front foot, and he looked dynamic as well. And I think with him and Evans, they've got
it's a really good combo, isn't it?
Really good combination. They complement each other very well, but they're both out injured now. So back to square one. Oh well.
So frustrating, isn't it?
I know. Well, but we've finally seen the Ollie Norburn that we thought we'd signed. I thought it was very, very good, and he gets an 8- from me.
Where are we then? Tim, CJ Hamilton.
Hit and miss, I think. He did some good stuff. I endorse what Nick said earlier. I think so much prefer CJ on the left-hand side, and with Apter on the right, you've got a bit of balance. Also means Gabriel's more likely to be in the team as well. So I think the whole team has more balance when he's on that left-hand side. Did some good stuff, but I think also, there's the usual control issues which featured as well. I thought it was pretty solid, though, I thought. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Nick, Rob Apter. Well, like Tim said earlier, I think the more we see of him, the more you like it. He was a real threat particularly in the first half. Every time he gets the ball, he's looking to take his man on, whether that's going on the outside or running with it, and then looking to come inside and fire a shot off. And I think he's just going to go from strength to strength. Maybe just needs to get that goal, and we might see similar sort of numbers in terms of assists and goals that he got for Tranmere last season. But yeah, he's a real threat, and he was a real threat on Saturday in the first half. So I will give him an 8+.
And then John, Kyle Joseph.
What can you say about Kyle Joseph? Another player that looks reborn. Now the shackles of Critch Ball are no longer weighing him down. He looked like he was playing with lead in his boots at times, wasn't happy. You can tell he's now happy. Looks the perfect player to play in that 2 up the front. Winning so many high balls, high energy throughout the game, chasing, harrying. Must be a nightmare having him pressing you. Never gives up, chases down every single lost ball, but he's also got very good feet and that aerial presence that we do need. And I think he's a great foil for Ballard up there. And looks a threat. He's in the goals and long may it continue. And I think he's going to get a 9- from me. Well done, Kyle.
And Tim, Dom Ballard. Not Dan Ballard, Dom Ballard.
Dom Ballard. Yeah, I think John sort of picked up on the point. So he's full of it up front, plenty of pace. I agree as well. I think once he gets his shooting boots on, I think we'll get plenty of goals out of him. I'm going to go 8.
We're going to score. Jordan Rhodes came on after 56. Is that enough time to warrant a score?
He was quite involved at the end, wasn't he?
He's a very, very clever player, Jordan Rhodes. His off the ball movement, it's just sublime at times, and you can tell he's like playing a game of chess almost. I think he's 3 moves ahead of a lot of the other players at the time. He's such a smart player.
Do you think he could have done better with his header when it got saved? It looked like it was easier to score than miss, and he hit the keeper, didn't he?
Well, he hit the defender on the that one towards the end. The defender came across. I mean, there was loads of shouts for handball. I'm not sure that it was, but I don't think he could have done a lot more really. I mean, it was on target.
He's got to hit the target, and that's what he's done.
He's hit the target, and then. But I think John says, a lot of players would just have gone at goal with that header, wouldn't they, and just tried to get it on target. But no, he's put it back into the danger zone. Away from the keeper, and I think even if Hubby hadn't got it, I think Gabriel was lining up for some form of half volley or shot. So there was plenty of options going in there, and it was a vital contribution. Because I said a lot of people would just have gone straight for goal, and it'd have gone out for a goal kick, or it'd have gone over the bar, or it'd have been easily saved. So he has used all his experience there for me.
Yeah.
Do you want to give him a score, Nick?
I will give him. It probably would have been an 8, but I'll knock it to a 7 just because of the foul that resulted in their goal.
Oh, God,
but
that's
I think
a bit harsh. Come on, FPRS at least
7 plus then.
And then
I like him. Sorry,
a Brucey bonus for the manager rating.
I'll give him a 9.
Strong start.
Were the subs right at the right time? Are we happy about the times that they come up? Was it 56? Ballard 4?
Well, Ballard was injured, wasn't he?
It's
a dead leg, isn't it? Yeah.
Should he have made subs? Should he have made subs earlier? Really, apart from the Ballard one, it looked like Exeter were going to get into the game and score, and they did. Obviously, later on. What was it? Apter for who was the sub?
Embleton came on, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Embleton. Yeah, looked all right. Embo when he came on, I thought he's put himself about. But anyway, sorry.
I'll let somebody. I did. Yes, I did.
Sorry, Tom. I've stolen your thunder.
Oh no, I've finished. That completes the rating. Back to you, John.
It's like the 2 Ronnies, this.
Question though, based on that 11 and how we've performed and what you've seen from them 11, is that a good enough side to make the playoffs this year?
If we've got all the players fit, if we get,
I think when you look at the bench, and it was a pretty strong bench as well, wasn't it? And you've got with who we've got to come back from injury as well.
Got Lions, Bay got. We've got
Coulson,
Fletcher to come in, haven't we?
Carey.
Potentially, if he gets fit and we give him a contract, you've got Onema who may feature. The problem is we've got Evans and Norburn both injured. I think Ballard, it sounds a bit more hopeful that it if it's not tomorrow, he will hopefully be all right for Saturday at Charlton. But I think Evans has gone for an X-ray, and Norburn, they're talking possibly hamstring or tendon, and you just know if it's hamstring, you know our luck with hamstrings. It's always at the severe end of the scale. It's never 4 to 6 weeks. It's 10 to 12. And if it's that sort of length of time, I'm hoping it isn't. Let's all touch wood. But it's then the length of time to get back and get match fit again, just at a point where both him and Evans, like you said, John, will just complement each other really, really well. And it's as good as a midfield two as we've had in a long time. And maybe we could get by without one of them, but both of them, what do you do? Albie Morgan, I don't think he's far off.
Albie Morgan, Nick.
But again, he's been out for a while, hasn't he? So it'll be a while before he's up to match fitness. And you've got Sonny Carey who can come in, but him in a two, it's just not the same. To be fair, that's not really where his strength lies. So it's really, when I saw that today, I was like, it took a lot of the joy out of, what we had at the last minute winner on Saturday, because you're just thinking, where do we go from there, really? They're both out for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, whatever it is, because they're thick and fast at the moment, aren't they? So even if they're only out for a month each, it's still a good number of games where we're without probably two of our, our it's our midfield, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you're going to do a 4-4-2, you want Evans and Norburn in there all day long. So yeah, it's a real blow.
Who's our other options? We got Morgan and Finnegan, haven't we? Albie Morgan.
Finnegan, again, he's injured, isn't he? I think he's not far off being back. You've got Embleton, Carey, but probably a bit more attacking. I just think what Evans and Norburn do, it's those two who do it, and they're the best at what they do. It's a real blow to lose those two.
Yeah. One thing we didn't do was man of the match. Not done this for a while. For me, it's a toss-up between Fire and Evans. I thought Evans was sublime at times.
Or Joseph. I think Joseph's in the conversation.
Yeah.
He got the man of the match from the sponsors, didn't he? He just put himself about so much. That little cushioned header as well for the chance for Ballard was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go with Fire just because I know he got the booking, but I just thought he was superb. Other than that, I thought he was really, really good. It's nice to be able to have a conversation, isn't it, where you could probably pick 3 players.
Timothy?
I'd go Fire. Those stats are incredible.
I'm going to do a Sean man of the match also and go with a Fire. I bet Sean gave him man of the match. Right, let's move on to one more talking point. Low attendance. 8,500 was the crowd. Obviously, Exeter aren't going to swell it given the distance they have to travel. So it was about 200 or 300 for them. But it's quite disappointing to see 8,500 crowd, and it's not surprising given the pricing policy this season.
No, I think if you look at the price, it was cheaper than the Stockport game, wasn't it? By a few quid, but even so, by the time you've got booking fees and whatever, I just think that the walk-ons on the day, it's not going to be in the thousands, is it? Unfortunately, and season tickets are a little bit down on last season. But yeah, unfortunately, you're probably not going to enhance a great number of people who are just going to pay on the day at that price. Unfortunately, and it's a shame because you get a last minute winner like that, and it's worth it, and you want people to come back. And in some cases, it's just a case of people, people just can't afford to do it, and they will probably be picking and choosing the games, and probably Exeter isn't one that is going to attract, a lot of extra people on the day, so to speak. So yeah, it was noticeable. I was a little bit shocked when I saw that figure because, all right, there isn't. You can see that there's not loads there from Exeter, a few hundred, but for home fans, yeah, it was low. But I suppose if we keep winning, we should see that start to increase.
Anything to add, Tim, on that?
Yeah, I think Nick's right. I think if we get some momentum, which we've spoken about, with Steve Bruce and start winning a few games, and we're playing teams who are going to bring a few more, then we should be back up to 11 or 12,000. But it's, with the booking fee, it's 29 quid. And if you've got if fans aren't committing to a season ticket, unless some of it's because of work, some of it's because, they're not fans who go to every game for whatever reason, family, other interests, whatever, it's not cheap, is it? So, and we know why they do it. They do it because it means that's the same price they can charge the away fans, but it is always going to hit the home crowd. It's just, there's not a right or wrong answer to it, because at the end of the day, it costs a lot of money to run a football club, but you're not going to get people paying £29 to go and watch Blackpool Exeter.
Yep, quite succinctly put. Let's hope we get back to 5-figure crowds at the next home game. Right, just before we go, we've got Sheffield Wednesday in the third round of the Carabao Cup at Bloomfield Road tomorrow. Tickets are quite a good price of £15, even in M Block. So I'm treating myself to a padded seat.
I messed up there. I've got my normal seats.
I didn't realise it. Is it only 15 quid in M Block?
Yep. So I thought I'd go and see how the other half live.
That's an oversight from Swansea Julian, isn't it? He's missed that.
Exactly.
There.
I'm fully expecting to be frog marched out of the area.
Yeah, don't get too excited or stand up or anything. You'll be getting told to sit down. But it's a shame, we've just been talking about the injuries, and I know we would probably be mixing it up a little bit in terms of personnel tomorrow night. But it's also, I think if we were full strength, there's a chance we could have got, we could get the win, and we may still do. It's just going to be that much harder, isn't it, with potentially Ballard out and Evans and Norburn. Obviously, a fire will be cup tied, won't it? So he won't feature. So it depending on what they do as well, whether Fletcher's suspended. I don't know how strong they'll go. But hopefully, there'll be a few more on who've maybe were thinking of not going, who've decided to go on the back of the last minute winner on Saturday, and there'll be a decent atmosphere, and we can, fingers crossed, we can get the result, because as Tom was saying at the start, we don't do great in cup competitions, and we don't really have cup runs too often in all our lifetimes, unfortunately. Outside of
have we ever got
the
to the
EFL
fourth?
trophy.
Try to think. Fourth round.
Yeah, we've reached it twice, the fourth round, which was against Arsenal in the boycott years in 2018, 17.
Which doesn't count then. Next.
And Tottenham in 2007, the year they won it. 2007-8.
Tottenham in
We've also,
2007? I don't remember that.
We've
Yeah, it was
also
at their
reached
place, wasn't it?
Yeah. We've also reached the third round a further 2 times, which was against Crystal Palace in 2003 and Stoke in 2009 under Holloway. So this is the 5th time we've reached the third round of the League Cup in 30 years, which is a shambolic record, to say the least.
It is, but as we know, we only get shit draws, don't we? So many times in these cup,
Unless it's the boycott,
you get through the first couple, and you're like, yeah, right, here we go, who are we getting? And you're like, oh. But like I said before, it's we'll go into it with confidence, and there's no reason why we can't get a result.
I do remember that Spurs away game now, because I was there. I remember it. I remember GTF hit the bar right in front of the Blackpool fans. We played really well, and I remember it very well because I was with my brother, and I was violently ill, stayed in a hotel room in Hampstead. Something I'd eaten, and I think I got food poisoning. So that's my memories of the last time we got to the fourth round.
I was there as well, and I remember Danny Coyd playing really well. Like he'd been out injured for ages, and he came in and just had a stormer at right back. We played really well that night, didn't we? But I think we lost 2-0 in the end.
Yeah, they knew they were in a game. David Fox could have scored at the end, vaguely remember.
Yes, that is very good memory. Yeah, you're right. Could have.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, let's probably go just for fun. Let's have a team pick. It's updated. I've left it in.
This will take forever, John.
No, it won't. You have little faith, Nick. Rich O'Donnell will probably go in net, won't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I would think so.
Centre halves. Slim pickings. I'd stick
Yeah, but I
Pennington
think
in.
he'll stick with Casey, won't he?
I'd stick.
I wonder whether he might. And Pennington and Casey, I would have thought.
Yeah.
The only other option is when he puts Hubby in as centre back and plays Coulson left. But I think Coulson might feature.
Is Zach Ashworth in for running at left back as well?
Is he fit?
I feel like he might. Did he play for? He got called up by Wales, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then didn't obviously want in the squad.
That's a good shout. He looked decent on that game I saw him in. Yeah, should we give him a run out?
Yep.
Right back. Just stick Gabriel in. He needs games under his belt after being in and out for so long, I think. Right. The centre mid.
I've just seen one name nervous for Dom Thompson. He might be in for a start, might he, tomorrow if he impresses in training, but hopefully not. Yeah, that stands out as someone who might just be thrown in tomorrow night.
Don't tell that to Raggy.
Do you think he'll go same formation, or
I'm not sure he will, Nick.
No, with Evans and Norburn being out.
It's got to be. Would you say Morgan and Carey centre mids?
I don't know. Is Morgan fit? Was he on the bench on Saturday?
For a while.
I don't think he is.
He might chuck Finnegan in. He's fit.
I think he'll have to.
Yeah, Finnegan's played defensive midfield before, hasn't he? So
yeah, give him a run out.
I wonder whether he might have three in the set in three, and then he can play Carey.
It'll take too long though, Tim. If you're going to be doing that, let's have Cora. Let's have Sonny in there. What options have we had out wide? Do we want to rest the Raptor or?
Well, I'd be tempted to play Coulson on the left, further up on the left, mate. Personally.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. He deserves it, doesn't he, Coulson? He deserves the start.
Well, he's very unlucky to be dropped.
Yeah, I'd say so. Hayden, you getting in our team?
Can you look past Raptor?
I think you've got to play him again. I think.
Yeah.
He's a young lad. He can play 3 in a week.
I feel like Embleton's going to play somewhere though as well. So
that's what I was thinking. If it was a 3, he's probably more likely to, isn't he?
Is what it is.
I think we'll get the Bees up front, won't we?
Do you think?
I think Bees will start. No, but I think he'll start him.
Joseph, definitely.
Maybe with Joseph.
I don't know.
Maybe
Rhodes this is game for Jordan Rhodes. Used to play for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, maybe I think he might go Rhodes and Beasley. Personally, I think he might rest Joseph.
I don't want to see Rhodes and Beasley together. To be honest, it's too slow. We want to win the game, don't we?
Is that side good enough to win the game? Do we think?
Depends what they play, I suppose. Doesn't it?
Yeah, midfield worries me a little bit.
Yeah, that's the. To be fair, the back four is pretty solid there, and then you've got a good forward line. So it's just that midfield.
Which is why I don't think he will go 4-4-2. But anyway, we will find out at 6:45 tomorrow.
Yeah, Bruce will get a bit of a bad reception from Wednesday, won't he? Because he walked out on him after a few months for Newcastle, if everyone remembers. So he'll be getting booed from the away end. One of his 13 former clubs.
I was going to say, it'll probably be every other week, won't it? It'll be up against someone he's managed before. The Steve Bruce derby.
Right, I think we'll leave it there, gentlemen. Good. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, actually. It's going to be a nice evening. Shorts on, a couple of beers before on Tuesday night.
Shorts on? It's freezing.
It's not.
It's been nice today.
Yeah, I know it is during the day. As soon as that sun goes down,
that's true.
It's frozen.
I'll wave at you in your posh seat, John.
Exactly. I'm on a posh padded seat.
Oh, it's cushioned, not heated as well.
Right. Oh, very quickly around the room, match predictions. 2-1 to Blackpool.
I think
3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday.
2-2 Blackpool to win on pens.
Tom?
I think 1-1 will lose on pens. But I hope I'm wrong, of course.
Right, thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading. Do like, do subscribe, and up the pool.
Up the pool.
Cool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try!